Hey YouTubers, in this video I am going to paint up the eye of the tiger. Let me go ahead and throw up a little close-up photo so you guys get a good look at what this thing looks like up close. Pretty cool stuff we got going on into here. Anyway guys, let's move on into the tutorial. Alright, the first thing we got to do to get into this thing, we are going to start laying this background color in here. We got this light shaded color here and a couple of different colors. We'll just go ahead and start out with the blurry and out of focus stuff real fast and get that in there. The next color. The next color. You guessed it, the next color. What the? Relax, guys. First color we put in there was a little bit of burnt sienna mixed with just a little bit of white. Second color was sepia mixed with a little bit of white to tone that down some. Third color was a burnt umber with just a touch of black in it to get that dark color in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come in, we're going to start defining, work off of the hair. So I'm going to use a little bit of blackbeard wheat around there, and we're going to start putting this burnt sienna-ish color in there. Yep, I'm going to take a little bit of blackberry wheat and I want to come in with that sienna and let it blend out towards the outer edges. As you see, I've got a little bit of red violet. For some reason, I missed that in the video, and that's where my darks are going to be. And I'm blending out those sienna colors and that brownish tones and bringing that back into the darks that we're going to have there. Then once you got those brownish tones black into your darks, then you can start blending your darks out into over the top of those lighter colors, and then we'll get into some scratching and erasing later where it needs to be. Bum, 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 bum. To note, these lightest tones are not white, so we're going to mix in a light color, which I describe in here. It's a little bit of yellow ochre with some white, and we're going to go in here and put it on top of this so we've got something to scratch out our textures into. I'm not coming back to white. I'm going very, very gentle and only pulling paint from this top layer off. I want you to see that I have put in a very, very light tone, which is just a little bit of yellow ochre into about 4 or 5 drops of white, and toned around that area the lightest colors to give it just a little bit of a straw. We're going to shoot for a lavender tone here, but what I'm going to use is red violet. Okay, now I'm going to stop torching y'all. Got my darker mix in here. And I put my shield around this outer edge. There's still some darks to go inside there, and then there's a hump. So I've gone to the outer edge of the eye through there. And then there's some spots that don't get those color. And of course we have to pull that shield off and blend down in there with a little bit of freehand work. Okay, next what you're going to see me do, you're going to see me use a transparent, a little bit of a burnt sienna, and I tone that down with just a tiny hint of blue in there, just a tiny, tiny amount. And you're going to see me use a transparent and start bringing these textures over the top of this black. If you're new to my channel, by the way, I am Bill Kennedy with W. Leon Artistry. If this video is moving a little bit fast for you, some of my other tutorials are longer, some of them are short like this one. But if this video is moving a little bit fast for you, you guys can check out my Patreon page where this entire video in real time will be uploaded for my patrons. And there you will see me using a combination of blackbeard wheat as well as pulling in a little bit of scratching. Obviously you can't see me using the blackbeard wheat because my stupid hand's in the way. But that's okay. You know what I'm doing. And then we're going to work with our blackbeard wheat, and then we're going to use a little bit of scratching, and we're going to come down over the top and pull those little tiny details out in those hairs. And then we will glaze back over them again with our transparents. My other dark spots. I don't want to get too bogged down into discussing every single color and how I mix each individual color in this video because it comes redundant, especially considering I have a color video, multiple color videos that'll teach you how to mix colors if you go looking for them. But I wanted to point out with the transparency layering, you know, with that dark in under here, if I'm working with a transparent, as long as I'm pretty careful with it coming into these darks, that transparent's going to have almost no effect and not get any of that muddy texture. If you're using a straight opaque and you start layering that straight opaque in there, you're going to get a lot of blue shift and it's going to get really muddy on the end. Lay color and then scratch out on top of that, you know, you need to be aware it needs to be a transparent. Otherwise, you would have to put all this in opaquely and then very carefully work all your darks up into those hairs. And this is going through the process. This is sped up just a little bit. It's actually 2 times speed. I am obviously cutting a lot of stuff out of here. It took me to do about an hour and a half to do everything that'll show up into this portion of the video. So that's everything except for the actual pupil and, you know, iris and all that of the eye. So just pointing out, you know, I'm using that Blackbeard wheat, moving it around. Notice how I'm just kind of like dragging over the top of it right there, because I'm going to be doing some scratching and that's all going to kind of blend it in. And then you'll notice I use that gray coming into it, and then you will see me come back and start pulling out all the fine little hairs with it. And then what I'm going to do here in a little bit, I'm going to take some sepia, and I'm actually going to bring some sepia tones in here after I get those hairs pulled out. And, you know, but once you scratch like that, remember that you're going to change the value of your painting because all those pure whites are going to show up. So you might want to you might have to knock them back with just a little bit of color after you put them in there. And once I've done all that scratching and erasing, and I'm still working on a little bit of that now, pulling out those highlights. Those are going to be very, very bright highlights that's going to exist all the way to the end of the painting. I'm scratching that all the way back to white. But once I get done layering all this in here, what I will do then is look at my picture and see if I need to alter that tone anymore. There's that sepia going in where I was talking about it around that edge. And then what I will do is use a transparent to adjust my tones because I didn't mix up opaques. So I'm going to look at that and it's like, hey, if it's a little bit too orange, do I want it to be a little bit darker? You know, do I need that brown to be a little bit darker? Then I'm going to go through and add little sections. See those browns, how that come off of that. Gives it a very much more realistic look when you add that in there. And then I'm going to put some darks in on top of those more lightish browns, you know, umbers and sienna mixes. And then I'm coming back with that sienna over the top and just blending into it just a little bit. Alright guys, that's going to be it for part 1. Part 2 will be edited and uploaded tomorrow. Today is Thursday, so tomorrow is Friday. Don't know the date right now with all this quarantine madness. I'm completely losing it. But tomorrow on Friday, I will get the other portion of it edited, and that'll cover all the interior part of the eye, and we'll get it wrapped up. Anyway, guys, we appreciate y'all stopping by. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell and stop back by tomorrow to get to part 2. Y'all have a good one. Bye.